Hi there. In this particular video, we'll start talking about option Greeks, and the first option Greek that we are going to speak about is delta. Alright, delta is one of the most important option Greek that we need to understand. It basically tells you the relationship between the movement in the option price and the movement in the asset price. Alright, for example, if you're talking about options in stocks, in that case, we'll see the relationship between how the stock price is moving vis-a-vis how the option prices are moving. Could be call option or could be put option. Alright. This exact relationship is being studied by delta. Alright, so that is something that we are going to understand. Alright, so delta is the moment or is the relationship between the moment in the stock price and the moment in the call in the option price. So let's start with that. So as we know that we have already learned how to calculate delta. Alright, so delta calculation is pretty simple. It is ND1. Alright, N of D1, that is, it is normally distributed, and we can calculate D1. This we can refer it from our BSM model. Alright, how to exactly calculate D1. Again, I'm not asking you to remember that formula, but just to remember that delta is generally calculated using ND1. Since it is a normal distribution, as we know, the value of delta would be between 0 to 1. Alright, would be between 0 to 1 for a non-dividend paying stock. Alright, and one more thing that we need to understand here is that call delta. Alright, again, this is very important. The deltas for call options would always be positive. Alright, would always be positive. The reason is simple, because delta studies the relationship between call option price and the asset price. That relationship is direct. How? Let's understand that. Say for example, if stock moves up, alright, if stock moves up, alright, so the value of the call option increases, alright, so the value of call option will also go up. Alright, since this relationship is positive, our delta would be positive. Likewise, if stock goes down, the value of the call option would decrease and the premium amount or the price of the call option would decrease, and that is why we'll see a negative relation. That is why we'll see both of them going down, and therefore again we'll be able to see the direct relationship that I have been talking about. So no doubt, the call delta would always be between 0 to 1 and will always share a positive relationship. Alright, that is why we have a upward sloping line when we have stock price on the x-axis and call option price on the y-axis. The relationship is going to be positive for both of them. Alright, so this is one thing that you need to understand, that call option delta for call option you can simply calculate using ND1. Alright, when we are talking about non-dividend paying stocks. Alright, when we are talking about non-dividend paying stocks, and as soon as we include dividend paying stocks, the value of call option would be calculated using ND1 into e to the power minus dividend yield into t. Remember, this is nothing but dividend yield. Alright, so repeating this part again, ND1 you use to calculate the value of delta when we do not have dividends. Alright, and ND1 into e to the power minus dividend yield into t is the formula that you use to calculate delta when you have dividends. Alright, so that is something that you need to understand, and the value of call option would be nothing but between 0 to 1. Alright, between 0 to 1. ND1 is for non-dividend paying stocks. Alright, and ND1 into e to the power minus dividend yield into t would be for dividend paying stocks. So that is the idea. The relationship is positive, and that is something that we can see here. Likewise, we can see the delta for put. Alright, delta for put would again follow a very simplistic assumption or a very simplistic approach. That is, you can calculate the value of put delta using n minus d1. Alright, n minus d1. Again, this is for what? This is for non-dividend paying stock. This is for non-dividend paying stock. And as soon as you include the dividend here, the formula would change to n minus d1 into minus e to the power minus dividend yield into t. Alright, so you're doing nothing but attaching dividend yield here, and that is what you need to do to get the value of delta. Alright, now remember here, the value of delta that you will get would always be negative. Why? Because delta at the end of the day studies what? The relationship between the put option and the asset price. So when asset price increases, value of put option goes down, and when asset price decreases, value of put option increases, and that is where we are able to see that negative relationship, and that is where we can say that yes, the value of delta for put options would be negative, and that is why the number that you would get, or you are able to see the negative sign here, is because of the very same reason, because n minus d1 would be a positive number, e to the power minus dividend yield into t would be again a positive number, and that is why we need a negative sign here to make sure that we are getting the delta in negative terms, because the relationship of put option and that of asset price is negative. Alright, so that is the value of delta that you can get for the put options. Again, n into minus d1 is for non-dividend paying stocks, and as soon as you include dividends, it changes to n minus d1 into minus e to the power minus dividend yield into t. Alright, so the value of put option is nothing but between minus 1 to 0 or minus e to the power minus dividend yield into t to 0. Alright, and in the graph as well, you can see that the relationship is negative between the stock price and the put option price. The relationship is negative. As the stock price is increasing, value of put option is decreasing. You can see that relationship right here. Alright, so these are some of the basics of delta that you need to know. That is, the value of delta for call option would be between 0 and 1. The value of put option for delta, the value of delta for put options would be between minus 1 and 0. Alright, so these are some basic things that you need to know. How do you really calculate the value of delta for call options? It is n d1. Alright, given that it is a non-dividend paying stock, and the moment you include dividend, you multiply it by e to the power minus dividend yield into t. Alright, so that is something that you need to understand. Second is, how do you do it for put options? How do you calculate delta for put options? It is n minus d1, and as soon as you include the dividend yield, you multiply that n minus d1 with minus e to the power minus dividend yield into t. Alright, so that is how exactly it works. Now I wish to talk to you about delta. Alright, so now we know that the value of delta is between 0 to 1, alright, for call options. But when is the likelihood that it will be closer to 0? When we have more likelihood that it will be closer to 0.5, when we'll have more likelihood that it will be closer to 1. Alright, so these are some things that we need to understand. Alright, so I'll break this part into 3 bits, in accordance to whether the option we are talking about is in the money, at the money, or out of the money. In the money options means what? You are already making money. Even if you get to exercise it right away, you will make money. At the money means you are at break even, given that you're not considering the premium. And out of the money means what? Given that you exercise it right away, you'll not be making any money there. Alright, so for call option, let's understand this. Alright, say for example we are in the money. Alright, say for example we are in the money. That is, right now, given if given a chance to exercise, you will be making money on that call option. So we have an exercise price of 6. This is important. We have an exercise price of 6. We have a current spot price of 10. Alright, we have a current spot price of 10, exercise price of 6. And the premium for this call option that we have paid originally is $5. Alright, so exercise price of 6, current stock price of 10, and the call option price that we have paid is $5. Now say for example we see a movement of $4 in the stock price. Alright, we see a movement of $4 in the stock price. So here you will be able to see that the stock has gone from $10 to $14, and in such cases when things are in the money, you will generally also see the call option rise vis-a-vis the same amount. Alright, the stock has risen by $4. In the money, in the cases of in the money call options, you will also see that the call option value is also increasing by $4. Alright, this increase and this increase is exactly equal. Alright, these two increases are equal. So in such cases, if you calculate delta, the delta would be nothing but change in your call option, that is 4, and change in your asset price, that is also 4. So you will see a delta closer to 1. We'll see a delta closer to 1. So what I'm talking here is that whenever call options are really in the money, alright, whenever call options are in the money, what you tend to see here is that they have a delta of 1. The likelihood or the changes in the call option price is almost same to the changes that are happening in the stock price. So your denominator and your numerator almost is equal, and that is why you get the value of delta as 1. So those who have forgotten, the formula of delta is nothing but change in C upon change in S, and you are able to see here change in C is $4 and change in S is also $4. Alright, so for in the money call options, you will see the delta of the stock, the delta of the call option at about 1 at 1. Alright, so this is how exactly it works about in the money. For at the money, alright, or rather I'll talk about out of the money first, so that you'll be able to understand at the money easily. So in cases where we are out of the money, say for example the current stock price is $10, the exercise price is $18. Currently, the call option that we have gotten is for $0.5. Alright, stock price 10, exercise price 18 and call option we have gotten is for 0.5. Now say for example the stock price rises by $4. Stock price rises by $4. So the stock has gone from $10 to $14. Alright, from $10 to $14 it has risen by $4. The current exercise price is 18. Alright. Now in such cases where you are deep out of the money, alright, where you are deep out of the money, you will not see a lot of movement in the call option price. Alright, you will not see a lot of movement in the call option price. You can see that there is no change happening in the call option price. The change in call option price is 0 divided by 4. So you still have 0 as your delta. So what you need to understand here is that when you're talking about out of the money call options, in such cases, even if the stock price moves in your favor, the likelihood for the call option to be in the money is so less that people really do not go and buy that call option. And since people are not going and buying that call option, what really is happening here is there is no movement in the price of call option, and hence we see a delta closer to 0. Here what was happening was, in the case of in the money, given that we were already in the money and the stock price was going up, it means that it would lure more people to buy that call option, and people would keep on buying that call option to make sure that they also get the opportunity to make that gain. And since there will be a lot of demand in the call option, you will see the call option price also taking a good movement along with your stock price. So that is something that you need to understand, and that is why the delta tends to go towards 1 when we are going in the money, and as we come out of the money, the delta is near about 0. Alright. And since for out of the money call option we have a delta of 0, and for in the money call options we have a delta of 1, for at the money call options we tend to have a delta of closer to 0.5. Alright, closer to 0.5. Let's see how. So we have a current stock price of 10. Alright. The exercise price is also of $10. The call option price is $2. Say for example from $10 it moves to $12. Alright, there's a movement of $2 in the stock price. Here we'll see generally that call option is moving by about $1 to $1.5. I've taken the example of $1 here. From $2 it has risen to $3. Alright. So now if we calculate the delta, we'll see that the delta is change in option price, that is $1, divided by change in the stock price, that is $2. So that would be 0.5. Alright. So for at the money call options, we generally tend to see a delta of 0.5. Or we generally tend to see a delta of 0.5. So the idea is pretty simple. For out of the money, nobody is going to really buy the option because we are deep out of the money, and the likelihood for us to make money using that call option is very less. So I would not rather buy that option, and that is why I will not see any movement in the call option. But for in the money, there is going to be a like for like movement in the call option vis-a-vis the stock price, because the chances for me to make money were already there and now they are increasing. And so I'll go and keep on buying the call option and make sure that the delta is near about 1. And for at the money it is about 0.5. So we have a delta of 0.5 for at the money, and given that more if we move towards in the money, we'll see that this delta rises from 0.5 to 1. And say for example if you're standing at the money, and in case we tend to move, the stock price tends to move towards taking the call option out of the money. So what will happen is we'll see the delta taking a shift from 0.5 to 0. So that is again something that you need to understand, that 0.5 is for at the money, 0 is for out of the money, and 1 is for in the money. And the movement is going to be according to the stock price. If the stock price is decreasing, we'll go out of the money and the delta will tend towards 0. And if the stock price is increasing, we'll go towards 1. Alright, and we'll see a delta moving from 0.5 to 1. Alright, so that is something that we need to understand. Along with that, we also need to understand about what really happens at expiration. Alright, with the call option and the put option, and given that we are in the money at expiration, so what exactly is the value of delta? Or for that matter, we are out of the money in put option, so what exactly really happens? By the way, we have understood it for call options till now. Alright, we know the value of call option, or the delta for call option would be 0 to 1. But for put options, it is -1 to 0 in the very same way. Alright, -1 for what? For in the money put options. -0.5 for what? For at the money put options. And 0 for what? For out of the money put options. Alright, the idea is pretty simple, only the relationship is negative. I think you'll be able to figure that out. Alright, the next thing that we need to understand is what if we are at expiration? Alright, all these things that we understood was before the expiration date. Alright, we were understanding the value of delta before the expiration date. Now what if we are standing at expiration? How delta reacts at that point in time. the idea is pretty simple. If we are at expiration, all right, and we are in the money, so the delta would be 1 for call options and the delta for put options would be -1. And likewise, if we are out of the money and the expiration date has already come, all right, in that case my delta for both call and put options would be 0. All right, I'll explain it with a chart to you, but here you need to know the basics before we jump onto this chart. So see, in this particular chart we have two lines. All right, we have this line, all right, and the second line that we have is a more linear line. All right, a more linear line. So based on these two lines, what we need to discuss is how exactly the payoffs really work. So first I'll talk about this particular line, the curved line that we have. All right, this particular line talks about the payoff prior to expiration. Again, we're discussing from the perspective of call option, and then it talks about prior to expiration, how exactly the payoff works. On the x-axis we have the stock price. All right, this is a particular point which is our exercise price. All right, so it is a given that beyond this particular point will be in the money, and before this particular point will be out of the money. All right, so this is how exactly things work around. All right, on x-axis we have the stock price. This is our expiration price, exercise price, and beyond the exercise price you are in the money, and before that you are out of the money. That is what we have written it here. And here on the y-axis we have the payoff. All right, here on the y-axis we have the payoff. So what you need to see here is, see, as you are moving in the money, what is really happening is your line is getting steeper. All right, your line is getting steeper, and once you have a 45 degree steeper line, which means that the slope of the line would be 1. All right, those who know the basics of mathematics, they would know that if we have a steeper linear line, not steeper line but a linear line, which is which is having an angle of 45 degree, that would have a slope of 1, and delta is nothing but this slope. All right, so the idea is pretty simple. As we move in the money and we tend to see this particular line, that is a call payoff line prior to expiration, we'll see it to be getting linear, and it will start forming a 45 degree angle, and that is why the delta shifts towards 1. And prior to and in the case of out of the money, that is before this particular price point, what is really happening here is delta is the slope is not exactly 0, it is moving towards 0. But as you move towards deep out of the money, as you move towards deep out of the money, as this was the case, in this case you will see a flatter line. You will see a flatter line. So this is a flat line, this is a steep line. All right, this is a 45 degree line, and this is a flatter line. So in the case of a flatter line, what really happens is the slope is nothing but 0, and that delta is nothing but 0. So that is the case that we discussed here in the case of out of the money. So when we are deep out of the money, we generally tend to see a delta of 0, and when we are generally deep in the money, we generally tend to see a delta of 1. And this line is exactly telling you that thing, that given that you are deep in the money, you are here, so the angle that we are seeing here is 45 degree, and hence we are able to see a delta of 1. But given that you are out of the money and you are somewhere here, in that case you are forming a parallel line to the x-axis, and in those cases your slope is generally 0. All right, so that is where we see the delta to tend towards 0. So delta is nothing but the slope of your line, slope of the line of prior to expiration. So that is one thing. Now you are able to see the second line, that is this one. All right, this is the call payoff at expiration. So at expiration, the idea is pretty simple. If you are in the money, you are having a 45 degree line, no matter how much in the money. So the delta is 1. And if you are out of the money, that is the stock price is lesser than the exercise price. In that case, you are out of the money, and since you are out of the money, you are forming a parallel. You are having a straight line, and the angle or the slope that we are seeing here for the straight line parallel to x-axis or on the x-axis is nothing but 0. So at expiration, the idea is simple. You are in the money, angle 45 degree, slope 1, and delta 1. Here, before your exercise price, or if you're out of the money, you have a flatter line, and that flatter line is nothing but your x-axis, and that is why you have a slope of 0. So that is how exactly your delta really works. We'll be using delta for delta hedging or delta neutral strategies, and that is something that you can really use to hedge your portfolio. So that is something that we are going to learn in the future, but you need to have your concepts very clear about your call option, put option, and the deltas of the same. Alright, so again, 1 is the delta for call option when we are in the money, 0 is the delta for call option when we are out of the money, and 0 0.5 is generally when we are at the money. Alright, it is not a static number. It is tending towards 1, it is tending towards 0 0.5, it is tending towards 0 before expiration. Alright, likewise for put options, it is -1, -0.5 and 0, -1, given that we are moving in the money, at -0.5 at the money, and 0 that we are out of the money. So that is how it really works around. Alright, that is how exactly it really works around. What you need to bifurcate is whether we are standing before expiration or at expiration. If we are before expiration, things tend to move towards 1, tend to move towards 0 0.5, tends to move towards 0 delta. But given that if we are at expiration, things are, the delta is 1, the delta is 0. Alright, because we are at expiration and we are not going to see any further movement in the stock price, and that is why we have a concrete number for the delta. Will not see a lot of movement in the delta then. So this is how exactly it works. In the next few videos, we'll talk about the other option Greeks, and we'll also talk about delta neutral strategy and how and what are the weaknesses of this strategy. Alright, thank you.